Hi everyone, welcome to my channel Knitting for Baby. Thank you for watching. Please don't forget to like this tutorial. Your support is greatly appreciated. Now in today's video, I'm going to show you how to knit this baby jacket for baby girls between 18 and 24 months. Now you can also make it smaller or bigger. Down here in the information box, I'm going to leave you some information on how you can make it smaller or bigger. I'd say between 9 and 12 months and up to 3 years old. So be sure to check that out. Also, I'm going to have to split this tutorial in two parts. This would be the first part. Up here, I will leave the link to the second part. Now, the reason why it's this long, it's because I show you each one of these rows. I want to make sure that everyone is able to make this little jacket. Okay, so let's get started, and thank you for watching. Okay, to begin, I'll be using these 3.5mm knitting needles. I'm going to do the neckline with these needles, and then we're going to switch to 4mm knitting needles. Now, these are circular needles, but you can use straight needles as well. Now, the yarn that I'm using is Aran weight yarn. This is the brand. It's called Super Soft Baby Aran James C. Brett. You can use any number 4 yarn. Now, the first thing that we need to do is we need to cast on 73 stitches. So I'm going to show you here how to cast on your stitches using the long tail cast on. The first thing that we need to do is we need to wrap our yarn around 20 times. That's 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20. Now we have enough yarn here for 20 stitches. If we double it up, we have enough for 40. Double it up again, and there's enough for 60. Double it up again, and there's enough for 80. Now, I'm going to leave it like this, maybe a little bit less. So right about here, I am going to make a slip knot. So here's our long tail, and this here is coming from the skein. Now insert both needles like this, and we're going to open up the yarn, and we're going to go from left to right, and we're going to grab a loop like this. That's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and so on until you have a total of 73 stitches. So continue like this, finish casting on your stitches until you have 73, and then I'll come back and show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished casting on my stitches. I have a total of 73 stitches here. Now we're going to tie a knot here. Make sure to cut your yarn a bit shorter if you have too much left, but you shouldn't have too much left with this method that I just showed you. This is all I had left. Okay, so now we're going to pull one of the needles carefully. Make sure that the stitches remain there in one of the needles. And now here we are going to start. So to make the neckline, I am going to knit for a total of 4 rows. And then I'm going to add a buttonhole, and then we're going to do, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 more rows. So to do these first 4 rows, we are going to knit the first stitch, but only for this first row. After this, we are always going to slip the first stitch and purl the last. Now we're going to knit every one of these stitches except for the last one, which we are going to purl like this. Knit. So continue like this for this first row. Just knit each one of the stitches. When you get to the end, I'll meet you there to show you how we're going to finish this first row, and then we're going to continue for a total of 3 more rows. I'm here at the end of this first row. This is where we knit every one of the stitches. Now this last one we are going to purl. And that's how we finish the first row. Now for the second row, we're going to turn from here on, we're going to slip the first stitch always, and we're going to knit across to the last stitch where we are going to purl. Okay, so continue like this for this second row, and I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the second row. The last stitch we always purl. Now for the third row, we're going to turn here. We're going to slip the first stitch, and we're going to knit across like this. Now in this row, we're going to add a buttonhole at the end of this row. So continue, knit all of these stitches, and I'll meet you right about here 5 stitches before we finish to show you how we're going to add that buttonhole. I'm here at the end of this third row. I have 5 stitches here left. I'm going to add a stitch marker here because from here on, these 5 stitches we are always going to knit. Also here at the beginning, the first 5 stitches. So I'll put a stitch marker once we get there. So here, to make this buttonhole, what we're going to do is we're going to knit 2, we're going to yarn over, and then we're going to knit 2 together. This is how we're going to make our buttonholes from here on. Now we're going to purl the last stitch. And that's how we finish the third row. Now for the fourth row, we're going to turn, slip the first stitch, and we're going to knit each one of these stitches all the way to the end, except for the last one where we're going to purl. So we're going to pass our stitch marker here and then knit across to the last stitch, which you are going to purl. Continue like this for this fourth row, and I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of the fourth row. I have these last 5 stitches, so here's where we're going to add our stitch marker. These 5 stitches we are always going to knit. Actually, these last 4. The last stitch we are always going to purl. Okay, that's how we finish the fourth row. Now from here on, we're going to stop using these 3.5mm knitting needles, and we're going to switch to the 4mm knitting needles, and we're going to start our pattern. From here on, this is going to be the right side. So this is the side that you're going to see, and this is going to be the inside of the sweater. Now we're going to slip the first stitch, and I'm going to knit these 4 stitches. Pass your stitch marker, and here I'm going to purl 2 and knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Purl 1, knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Purl 1, knit 5. This is the pattern. So knit 5, purl 1, knit 5, purl 1, all the way to the last 7 stitches. 2, 4, 6, 7 stitches. So I'll meet you right about here, 7 stitches before we finish, to show you how we're going to finish this first row of our pattern stitch. I'm here at the end of this first row to our pattern stitch. Now these last 5 stitches here are my 5 knit stitches, and I have 7 stitches left. 2, 4, 6, 7. Now these 2 stitches here we're going to purl. We're going to pass our stitch marker, and I'm going to knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then we're going to purl the last stitch. So this is how our pattern is going to go. This pattern consists of 4 repeat rows. So this is going to be the first row. For the second row to our pattern, we're going to slip the first stitch, and we're going to knit 1, 2, 3, 4. Pass your stitch marker. Now these 2 stitches that we purled on the previous row, we're going to knit in this row. So knit 2, and then the 5 stitches that we knit in the previous row, we're going to purl in this row. So purl 5, knit 1, purl 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, knit 1. This is how you're going to continue. You're going to purl 5 and knit 1, purl 5, knit 1. Continue to the end of this second row, and I will meet you there to show you what we need to do next. Remember, all you're doing is you're purling 5 and knitting 1. Continue. I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of this second row. To our pattern here, I have my last 7 stitches, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. We're going to knit 2, pass our stitch marker, and we're going to knit 4. The last stitch we always purl. Okay, so here's the second row. Now for the third row to our pattern, you're going to slip the first stitch, knit 4, pass your stitch marker, and you're going to purl 2. Now we have the next 5 stitches. We have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first 2 stitches, 1 and 2, you are going to knit 2 together, yarn over, knit the third stitch, yarn over, pass the 4th stitch to the needle without knitting, knit the 5th stitch. Now you're going to pass the stitch that you slipped over the last stitch like this, and that's the pattern. Now the next stitch, purl. Now again we have the next group of 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first 2, 1 and 2, you are going to knit 2 together, you're going to yarn over, knit the 3rd stitch, yarn over, slip the 4th stitch, and knit the 5th stitch. Pass the 4th stitch over the 5th stitch. Again, purl 1, and again repeat the same thing. We have the next 5 stitches, 2, 4, 5. You're going to knit 2 together, yarn over, knit the 3rd stitch, yarn over, slip the 4th stitch, knit the 5th stitch. Pass the slip stitch over the stitch that you just knit. And that's all we're going to do for this third row to our pattern. Continue, and I'll meet you 7 stitches before we finish, so right about here, to show you how we're going to finish this third row. I'm here at the end of this third row. This is the first repeat. Remember that each repeat has 4 rows, so this would be the third row. Now I have 7 stitches here left. I'm going to purl 2, and then knit 4, and then purl the last. Whoops. Knit 4 and purl the last. And that's how we finish the third row. Now the fourth row, we're going to turn, slip the first stitch, knit 4, pass your stitch marker, knit 2, and then you're going to purl 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Knit 1, purl 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Knit 1, purl 5. That's how you're going to continue to the end of this row. I'll meet you here at the end to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this fourth row. I have 7 stitches before we finish, so we're going to knit 2, pass the stitch marker, and we're going to knit 4, the last stitch, purl. That's how we finish the 4th row and our first repeat. And that's what it looks like. Now we're going to do one more repeat. So here I'm going to slip the first stitch, knit 4, pass your stitch marker, purl 2, and then we're going to knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Purl 1, knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Purl 1. Continue like this. You're going to knit 5, purl 1 all the way to the end. I'll meet you here at the end, 7 stitches before we finish, to show you how we're going to finish this first row to our second repeat. I'm here at the end of this first row to our second repeat. 7 stitches before I finish, I'm going to purl 2, pass your stitch marker, and knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, purl the last stitch. Turn. For the second row, you're going to slip the first stitch, knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, pass your stitch marker, knit 2, and purl 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Knit 1, purl 5. Continue like this to the end of this second row where you purl 5 and knit 1. I'll meet you at the end. I'm here at the end of this second row. I have 7 stitches. I'm going to knit 2, pass my stitch marker, and knit 4 and purl 1, the last stitch. Now turn. In this third row, this is where we make our little holes here. So slip the first stitch, knit 4, pass your stitch marker, purl 2, and now here we have the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first 2 stitches, 1 and 2, you're going to knit 2 together, yarn over, knit the third, yarn over, slip the 4th, knit the 5th. Now pass your 4th stitch over the 5th stitch, and here's our first pattern. Now purl 1, we have the next 5 stitches, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, slip the 4th stitch, knit the 5th stitch, pass the 4th stitch over the 5th stitch, and then again purl 1, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit the 3rd, yarn over, slip the 4th, knit the 5th, pass the 4th over the 5th. And that's all you're going to do for this third row. Continue, and I'll meet you at the end of this row. I'll meet you at the end from here on, because you already know that these 2 stitches before the stitch marker, you always keep them in the same direction. We always purl when we're on the right side, and we always knit when we're on the wrong side. And then the last 4 stitches you knit, and the last one you purl. So I'll meet you at the end of this third row. I finished the third row. Here, these last 7 stitches, you purl 2, knit 4, and then purl the last. Now for the 4th row, you're going to turn, slip the first stitch, knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, pass your stitch marker, knit 2, 1, 2, and then you're going to purl 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, knit 1, purl 5. This is how you're going to continue for this fourth row, which is the last row to our second repeat. Knit 1, purl 5. Continue to the end of this row. Okay, I finished the third row. Here are these last 7 stitches. These 2 I knit and then knit 4 and then purl the last. Now, what we're going to do in this row is I'm going to make an increase, and what I'm going to do is right here where we have the stitch that we always purl, I'm going to add a stitch before on all of these purl stitch. So let me show you what I mean. We're going to slip the first stitch, knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Pass your stitch marker, purl 2, knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we have this stitch that we always purl. I'm going to make an increase here, so I'm going to grab this bar that's right here, see, right in front, and I'm going to put it on my needle like this. Now bring your yarn in front and purl this stitch. So from here on, instead of purling 1, we're going to purl 2. On the wrong side, we're going to knit 2 and then purl this stitch here. Let me show you again. So knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we have the center stitch right here to the side. Pick up this stitch, put it on your needle like this, bring your yarn in front and purl. Purl, and then knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then again we have the center stitch. Bring this bar to the needle like this, twist it, bring the yarn in front and purl. Purl the next stitch and knit 5. This is how you're going to work this row. This is going to be an increase row. Again, bring this bar in front, twist it like this, bring the yarn in front and purl. And purl. So now we have 2 purl stitches in between each of the motifs here. Knit 5 and so on. This is how you're going to continue for this row. So continue, and I will meet you at the end to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this row of increase. This would actually be the first row to our next repeat. Although we are making increases, it would still be the first row to our repeat. So here we're going to purl 2, pass your stitch marker, knit 4, and purl 1. Now in this row you should have a total of 82 stitches because we increased. Now for the second row to our repeat, we're going to turn here, slip the first stitch, knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, pass your stitch marker, knit 2, 1, 2, and you're going to purl 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and here is the increase, so you're going to knit 2 now and purl 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, knit 2, 1 and 2, purl 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, knit 2, purl 5. Continue like this, where you knit 2, purl 5, knit 2, purl 5. I'll meet you at the end of this row. Okay, I'm here at the end of this second row to our repeat. I have 82 stitches. Now, for the third row, this is where we make the little holes in this row. So slip the first stitch, knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, pass your stitch marker. You're going to purl 2, 1, 2, and here you're going to knit 2 together, yarn over, knit 1, yarn over, pass the stitch, and knit the last stitch. Pass your stitch over the last stitch that you knit. Okay, we always do this on these 5 stitches. Now we have 2 stitches here in between each of the motifs, so you're just going to purl 2 now. And then again we have the next 5 stitches, 2, 4, 5. Knit 2 together, yarn over, knit the third, yarn over, slip the fourth, knit the fifth, pass the fourth over the fifth. Again, purl 2, 1, 2, and then we have the next 5 stitches, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit the third, yarn over, slip the fourth, knit the fifth, pass the fourth over the fifth, and then purl 2. Continue like this to the end of this row. Here I think we need to add a buttonhole, so I'll go ahead and do it here at the end of this row. I think I'm only going to do maybe 3 or 4 buttonholes, but I think I'll add one here at the end, so we'll see. I'll meet you at the end of this row. Okay, I'm here at the end of this third row. I'm not going to make this buttonhole here. I'm going to make it in my next row. So here, knit 4 and purl 1. I'm going to make it on my next increase row. That way I know how to space them. So that's how we finish this row. Now we're going to turn. So for the fourth row to our third repeat, slip the first stitch, knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, pass your stitch marker, knit 2, purl 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, knit 2, purl 5, and so on. For this row you're going to knit 2 and then purl 5. Again, knit 2, purl 5. Continue like this for this row where you knit 2, purl 5, knit 2, purl 5. I'll meet you at the end of this row. Okay, I finished the last row to our third repeat. If you're wondering how many rows we have exactly so far, all you have to do is count each one of these little holes, and each one is 4 rows. So 4, 8, 12. So we're about to start the 13th row, which is the first row to the fourth repeat. Okay, remember that each repeat consists of 4 rows, so that's why I'm counting 1, 2, 3, 4, and then so on. That way we don't get confused, but if you prefer to count rows, then this would be the 13th row since we started our pattern. Now in this row, I am going to add a buttonhole here at the end, and we are going to increase. I'm going to increase right here in the middle of these 2 purl stitches. So right there, I'm going to add an extra stitch. So here, I'm going to slip the first stitch and I'm going to knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pass your stitch marker, purl 2. These two will always remain the same. Purl 2, and then we have the next 5 stitches you are going to knit. So knit 5, and then we have the 2 stitches in between each one of the motifs. So you're going to purl 1, and right in the middle there's this little bar. You're going to lift it up like this, and you're going to put it on this needle like this, twisted, and then you're going to purl this stitch. So here's an increase, and then this next one you are going to purl. So in the middle of the 2 we're going to increase, and then again we have the next 5 stitches. You're going to knit 5, and then again we have the 2 stitches in between. You are going to purl 1 and then make an increase by lifting this little bar that's in front of the stitch and twisting it and putting it in your needle like this, and then you're going to purl this stitch and then purl the next one. So from here on we're going to have these 3 stitches in between, not 2 anymore. The ones at the beginning, these 2 will remain the same. We're not going to increase or do anything with those. And then again you're going to repeat knit 5, and then again we have the 2 purl stitches, purl 1, make an increase, lift up that bar, twist it, and then go ahead and purl this, and then purl the next one, and again knit 5. This is how you're going to continue for this first row or the 13th row, however way you're counting, whichever makes it easier for you, and then make the increase. I'll meet you at the end right here. This is where we're going to add another buttonhole, so I'll meet you at the end of this row. I'm here at the end of this row. This is where we increased, and it's the first row to our 4th repeat. Now I have my last 7 stitches, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. These 2 here before the stitch marker, we always purl, pass your stitch marker, and here we're going to add a buttonhole. So we're going to knit 2, 1, 2, yarn over, knit 2 together, and purl the last. So here's our second buttonhole. I think I'm only going to do maybe 1 or 2 more. I only like to add 3 or 4 buttons here, so I'm just going to do those. So now we're going to turn, and for the second row here to our repeat, slip the first stitch and knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, pass your stitch marker, and you're going to knit 2 and purl 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I forgot to tell you that at the end of that 13th row where we increased, you should have a total of 91 stitches. I forgot to mention that. So you should have 91 stitches. Now we have the 3 stitches separating each one of our repeats. So here you're going to knit 3 and then purl 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Knit 3, 1, 2, 3, purl 5. You're going to continue like this, where you knit 3 and then purl 5. Knit 3, purl 5. Continue, and I'll meet you at the end of this row. I'm here at the end of this 14th row. Now we're going to turn. I think I'm going to start counting rows instead of telling you the repeats, because I think I might confuse people. I'm calling these repeats. So every time we have a little hole, that would be a repeat. We're in the process of working the 4th repeat. So this would be the 3rd row. So in the 3rd row, this is where we add the little holes. So here what we're going to do, and it's also row 15. So slip the first stitch, and then you're going to knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, slip your stitch marker and purl 2, 1 and 2, and then we have the next 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first 2 we're going to knit 2 together, yarn over, the 3rd knit, yarn over, slip the 4th, and knit the 5th. Pass the 4th over the 5th. And there's the first. Now you're going to purl 3, 1, 2, 3. Then we have the next group of 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. These 2 here, you're going to knit 2 together, yarn over, knit the 3rd, yarn over, slip the 4th, and knit the 5th. Pass the 4th over the 5th. Again, purl 3, 1, 2, 3, knit 2 together, yarn over, knit the 3rd, yarn over, slip the 4th, and knit the 5th, pass the 4th over the 5th. That's all you're going to do for this row. So continue, and I'll meet you at the end. Okay, I finished row 15, which is the 3rd row to our 4th repeat. So now what we're going to do for the 16th row is we're going to slip the first stitch, and we're going to knit 4, slip your stitch marker, knit 2, and then purl 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then knit 3, purl 5. This is how you're going to continue for this row. Purl 5, knit 3, purl 5, knit 3. I'll meet you at the end of this row. Okay, I finished the 16th row. So now for the 17th row, which is the first row to our 5th repeat, 1, 2, 3, 4. We just finished the 4th, so we need to do 4 more rows to do the 5th repeat, and it's row 17. We need to increase in this row. So here in the middle, between each one of these motifs, we have 3 stitches. So what I plan to do is I'm going to add 1 between the 1st and the 2nd, and then 1 between the 2nd and the 3rd. So let me show you. I am going to slip the first stitch, knit 4, pass your stitch marker, and then purl 2. And then here we're going to knit 5. And this is where we have the 3 purl stitches, 1, 2, 3. So I'm going to purl 1, and then make an increase right here. So pick up this bar and put it on your needle. Make sure it's twisted like this, and then purl. So now we're going to have 5 stitches here in the middle instead of 3, because we're going to add 2. And then this one in the middle, you're going to purl, and then here between this last one, right in here, pick up that little bar again, twist it, and then purl. And then purl the last. That's what we did now. So we have 5 stitches now, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 in between each one of the motifs. So again, we're going to knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we're going to increase between the 1st and the 2nd. Right here, there's a little bar, and then between the 2nd and the 3rd. So purl 1, make an increase, pick up that little bar, put it on your needle and twist it. Now purl the stitch. Purl the next one, make an increase, twist this stitch like this, purl this stitch, and then purl the last. Again, knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. We have the 3 stitches here in the center. These are the 3 purls. Purl 1, make an increase, pick up this little bar, twist it and put it on your needle. Purl the stitch that you just made. Purl the next, make an increase, grab this little bar, twist it, put it on your needle, purl the stitch, and then purl the last. This is how we're going to continue for this 17th row. I'll meet you at the end. Okay, I finished the 17th row, which is the first row to our 5th repeat. Now I have a total of 109 stitches in that last row. So now for the second row, or row 18, we're going to slip the first stitch and we're going to knit 4, slip your stitch marker, knit 2, purl 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, purl 5, knit 5. This is all you're going to do for this row. Purl 5, knit 5, purl 5, knit 5. I'll meet you at the end of this 18th row. Okay, I finished making the 18th row. This is where we purled 5 and then knit 5. Now for the 19th row, which is the third row to our 5th repeat here, you are going to slip the first stitch, knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, pass your stitch marker, purl 2, 1 and 2, and then we have the next 5 stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The first 2 stitches you knit 2 together, yarn over, knit the third, yarn over, slip the 4th and knit the 5th, pass the 4th over the 5th, and then you're going to purl 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then again we have our next 5 stitches, 1 and 2. You're going to knit 2 together, yarn over, knit the third, yarn over, slip the 4th, knit the 5th, pass the 4th over the 5th, and then you're going to purl 5. This is all you're going to do to the end of this row. Continue and I'll meet you there to show you what we need to do next. I'm here at the end of this 19th row, which is the third row to the 5th repeat. Now we're going to turn, slip the first stitch, knit 4. This would be row 20 to complete the 5th repeat. Now pass your stitch marker here. You're going to knit 2 and then purl 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, knit 5, 2, 3, 4, 5, purl 5. Continue like this for this 20th row, where you're going to purl 5 and then knit 5 to the end of this row. I'll meet you there to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished the 20th row where we purled 5 and then knit 5. Now we have completed a total of 5 repeats. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we're going to make one more repeat. In this next repeat, we are not going to make any increases. So all you're going to do is just repeat these 4 rows. So I'm going to start you off here. At the end of this row, I'm not going to make a buttonhole because I still need to make one more repeat in order for me to make my 3rd buttonhole. So here, to begin the first row to our 6th repeat, you're going to slip the first one, knit 4, slip your stitch marker, purl 2, and you're going to knit 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Purl 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then again knit 5, and that's all you're going to do for this row. So knit 5, purl 5, all the way to the end. At the end, you know what you need to do here. You are going to purl these last 2 and then knit 4, purl the last. Then you're going to turn for row 22, where you are going to slip the first stitch, knit 4, knit 2, and then purl 5, knit 5. So complete these 2 rows, this one here, row 21, and then complete row 22, and I'll meet you at the end of row 22. Okay, I finished row 22. In that row, we knit 5 and then purled 5. Now, for row 23, what we're going to do are the yarn overs, which is the 3rd row to our 6th repeat. Now, slip the first stitch, knit 4, 2, 3, 4, pass your stitch marker, purl 2, and then we have the 5 stitches here, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 1 and 2, you are going to knit 2 together, yarn over, knit the 3rd one, yarn over, slip the 4th one, and knit the 5th. Pass the 4th over the 5th. Now you're going to purl 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then again repeat the same thing. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 stitches. 1 and 2, you are going to knit 2 together, yarn over, knit the 3rd, yarn over, slip the 4th, and knit the 5th. Pass the 4th over the 5th, and then again purl 5. Continue like this for this row, and I will meet you at the end to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished the 23rd row. In this row we did the yarn overs. So now for the 24th row, which is the 4th row to our 6th repeat, I'm going to slip the first stitch and knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Pass your stitch marker, knit 2, purl 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and knit 5. This is all you're going to do for this row. Knit 5, purl 5, all the way to the end. I will meet you at the end of this row. Okay, finish row 24. We purled 5 and knit 5. So now for row 25, what we're going to do is we're going to do maybe about 2 more rows so that we can finish here the yoke. In this next row, I am going to make an increase. So let me show you. We're going to slip the first stitch, knit 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, slip your stitch marker, purl 2, 1 and 2, and you're going to knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now we have the next 5 purl stitches, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. You're going to purl 1, and right in the middle, right here, pick up this little bar, put it on your needles like this, and we're going to increase 1. So purl this here. Oops. Now purl 1, 2, 3. And before the last one, right here, pick up this little bar again and make an increase. Purl. So now purl the last one, and here we should have 7 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. That's how we're going to increase. So you're going to increase after the first purl stitch right here, and then before the last stitch. Let me show you again. Knit 5, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, purl 1, make an increase, pick up this little bar, twist it, put it on your needle, and purl. Bring your yarn in front and purl. And then you're going to purl 1, 2, 3, and this is the last one, so right before you finish, make another increase. Twist it, bring your yarn in front, purl, and finish. Make sure you have 7 stitches here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and then continue and knit 5. This is all we're going to do for this row, so continue. This would be row 25. So continue. I'll meet you here at the end to show you how we're going to add that 3rd buttonhole, and then we're going to make one more row. Okay, I'm here at the end of row 25. This is where we increased, and here at the end we need to add our 3rd buttonhole. So we're going to knit 2, yarn over, knit 2 together, and purl 1. And here's the 3rd buttonhole. Now, I don't think I'm going to add any more buttonholes, but I'll let you know if I will. So according to this, I'm adding my buttonholes every 10th row. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. Actually, every 12th row. So now for row 26, we are going to turn. For row 25, you should have a total of 127 stitches. So now for row 26, slip the first stitch, knit 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, and then knit 2, and here we're going to purl 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and you're going to knit 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Purl 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and knit 7. This is all we're going to do for this row, so continue, and I will meet you at the end to show you what we need to do next. Okay, I finished row 26, so this completes the yoke. So now for row 27 and 28, for 2 rows, I'm going to continue with this pattern here, the garter stitch, where we knit for every row. This part here, if you measure, it's measuring about 4.5 inches, which is about 11.5 centimeters. So now what we're going to do, like I said, is we're going to knit for 2 rows. So this part here still remains the same. You're going to slip the first stitch, knit 4. You can remove your stitch markers because from here on we're just going to knit each one of these stitches. like this, including the purl stitches in the center. I'm going to do a couple rows here. I'm not going to continue with the pattern anymore. I have the size that I need for the size that I'm making this for. So I'm just going to make a couple more rows, and then we're going to divide for the sleeves, the front panels, and the back, and so on. So continue like this, just knit each one of the stitches across. Here at the end, you're going to finish, turn, and then slip the first stitch and knit across, and then purl the last stitch. So I'll meet you at the end of that second row.